At one point, Abraham Lincoln revealed a very delicate secret that might have destroyed his entire legacy. His mother's roots were tainted by controversy, and she was born out of wedlock. Historians argued over whether he was correct or if he was defending something more profound for 150 years. The truth only became apparent once DNA evidence came to light, revealing a unique genetic trait that changed his family's history and left. An crucial question remains unresolved. How, therefore, did this discovery alter our preconceived notions about the man who created the legend? William H. Herndon worked long hours at the office and on the road for 17 years as Abraham Lincoln's legal partner. Lincoln revealed a secret that would follow him for the rest of his life in a private moment away from the spotlight around 1850. "I'll tell you something, Billy," he said to Herndon, "but don't tell anyone while I'm still alive. I had a bastard mother." Few people today can truly understand the weight of what Lincoln said. Being born out of marriage was more than just a personal embarrassment in the America of his youth. It was a disgrace that might destroy political aspirations and ruin reputations. Legal rights and social status were frequently denied to illegitimate children. Mothers were subjected to public humiliation or even physical punishment in certain states. Such children were referred to by the law as filios nollis, nobody's child, with limited safeguards and no inheritance rights. Such a legacy was risky for a man who wanted to be president. Lincoln proceeded to inform H. Herndon that Nancy Hanks, his mother, was the daughter of a Virginian nobleman. He said his grandma was impoverished, easily tricked, and exploited by a powerful man. Lincoln, however, did not mention this heritage with resentment. He thought his intelligence and motivation came from his mother's side. "Everything I am or ever aspire to, I get it from my mom. May she be blessed." He only revealed this information to the individual he trusted the most once, keeping it hidden. Lincoln's confession was a silent act of bravery and profound vulnerability during a period when a rumor of scandal might ruin a public person. There was more to the truth about his mother's birth than just a family secret. It threatened what he had planned to accomplish. No record or paper could validate or refute what Lincoln told H. Herndon for decades. His legacy was plagued by the question, which awaited proof that might never materialize. The historical community fell apart when Lincoln's confession was revealed in H. Herndon's 1889 biography. Two opposing factions emerged, each believing it had the secret to Nancy Hanks' real beginnings. The proponents of the illegitimacy theory were on one side. They cited court documents from November 1789 in Mercer County, which showed Lucy Hanks was charged with fornication, a crime only brought against an unmarried woman who gave birth. That indictment, followed by Lucy's April 1790 marriage to Henry Sparrow, produced a chronology that appeared to validate NY's unwed birth. For these academics, Lincoln's secret was consistent with the public record. The family had been plagued by controversy since Cuck's early years, and his mother was in fact illegitimate. Music. The opposition rallied around an alternative narrative. The Shipley theory's proponents maintained that Lucy Hanks was, in fact, Lucy Shipley, a woman who had previously been married to James Hanks. They believed that Nancy was the daughter of a lawful couple and that the rumors of bastardy were the result of local rumors and hazy recollections. They contended that the credibility of H. Herndon's story was called into question due to the influence of prejudice and the passing of time. They asserted that the Hanks and Shipley families' shared ancestry supported a legal marriage and a daughter born within marriage. When Lincoln historian Lewis Warren released his own research in 1941, the controversy reached a new height. Warren maintained that the Shipley connection was supported by documentary evidence and rejected the illegitimacy story as another of the Herndon tales. He asked historians to embrace the Shipley bloodline as fact and get over what he perceived as hyperbole. However, the evidence was still circumstantial, and neither side was able to strike a decisive blow. It remained a question for decades. Was Nancy Hanks the offspring of a lawful marriage that was lost to time? Or was she the illegitimate child Lincoln described? Every one. A fresh piece of data appeared to widen the gap. The mystery persisted in the absence of definitive evidence, fostering conjecture, family myths, and an increasing demand for explanations that historical records by themselves were unable to supply. The roots of Nancy Hanks Lincoln were finally resolved in October 2015 thanks to a genetic genealogy discovery. Holstrom, Suzanne A genealogist with experience in DNA research, oversaw a study that sought to provide answers that oral history and documentation were unable to. The group focused on mitochondrial DNA, or mtDNA, a type of genetic material that is only passed down from mother to kid and remains unaltered over generations. Music, empty DNA does not recombine with a father's genes way the DNA in the majority of our cells does. Because of this, it's a strong instrument for tracking down a straight maternal line that goes back hundreds or perhaps thousands of years. Finding living individuals with Nancy Hanks' maternal DNA was the difficult part. The line of Abraham Lincoln ended without any daughters. His mother's family, however, was considerably bigger. Holstrom's group searched genealogy documents, concentrating on the female A's of Lee Hanks, NY's grandmother. They discovered a number of surviving ladies whose mothers descended from and Lee via various daughters, some through Mary Hanks' companion, Nancy Hanks Hall, and Lucy Hanks. Group A was the name given to these relations. The researchers also found women in order to test the opposing Shipley idea, descended from the Shipley family in a direct female line. These descendants, referred to as Group B, would have the same mtDNA as Group A if Lucy Hanks had indeed been Lucy Shipley. If not, the DNA would tell a different story. Every participant gave a sample of their DNA, typically using a straightforward cheek swab. In a lab, the samples were sequenced, looking for variations and matching between the maternal lineages. In order to find a genetic signature that would support or refute the ancient family tales, the team compared the outcomes from Groups A and B. The project was about to provide the first scientific response to a topic that had plagued American history for over a century. Now that the samples were in hand and the laboratory work was underway, no document or family anecdote could equal the clarity of the sequencing results. All of the women in Group A shared the same mitochondrial DNA and were descended from the Hanks family in an uninterrupted female line. They were members of haplogroup X1c, which is a marker that is hardly ever seen in Europe. When the Shipley descendants' Group B samples were sequenced, no match was found. The evidence in their cells disproved the Shipley theory. Group X is already uncommon. Only 2% of Europeans have it. However, the X1c branch is much less common, with roots mostly found in the Near East, North Africa, and the Horn of Africa. There are only few carriers who have ever been found in Europe, dispersed throughout Norway, Italy, and Ireland. But here it was, clearly visible, tracing Abraham Lincoln's mother line. There was no question about the outcome. Lucy Hanks was the daughter of Joseph Hanks and Lee, and Lincoln's mother, Nancy Hanks, was her illegitimate daughter. Each line of Lincoln's own confession, court indictments, marriage records, and documentary evidence were now supported by DNA data. However, the DNA also left a mark on the sand. Although mitochondrial DNA may trace ancestry back through mothers and grandmothers, it is unable to identify a father. Lincoln's grandpa was a Virginia planter of good breeding who transformed the. Time has sealed the fate of the family. The topic that plagued historians for generations was resolved by the maternal code, yet the most profound secret remained unaddressed. Lincoln's legacy today includes a rare genetic signature, a verified story, and a mystery that science, despite its greatest efforts, is unable to answer. Lincoln's unique mother DNA connects him to a worldwide narrative today, serving as a reminder that American identity is much more nuanced. More than myth permits. The mysteries of the past are incorporated into the present when science challenges long-held beliefs. Our inherited truth can occasionally be richer and wilder than we could have ever imagined. Post your comments below.